Good evening, everyone. Yes, it's the X, Mary, and Pat show. We are so excited that you are here with us today. Please, whether you're tuning in live or catching the replay later, thanks for being here. I am Sharonda Lee, a technology assistant and certified navigator for the Oak Hill Regional Community Development Cooperation, the parent organization of Healthy Kids Mississippi. Now, before we dive in, let's give a quick shout out to our amazing team behind the scenes, our board chair, Jennifer Garrett, our executive director, Dr. Michael O. Miner, and our powerhouse project director, Mrs. Lottie Miner. We couldn't do this without our amazing team. And guess what? We're not just live on Zoom. We're also streaming live. We're also streaming tonight's show on both the Oak Hill Regional CDC and Healthy Kids Mississippi Facebook page, as well as YouTube. So if you're here on social media, go ahead, like, share, and drop your thoughts in the comments. If you've got questions, hit us up in the Zoom chat or on Facebook. We'll do our very best to answer each and every question. Now, little housekeeping rules. Please, before we kick things off, if you haven't already, grab your phone and download the Oak Hill Regional CDC app. It's totally free. Did I say that right? Yes, it's free. You heard it right. It's available in both the Google Play Store as well as the Apple App Store. Just search for Oak Hill Regional CDC or Mississippi Healthcare Help, and boom, you're all set. Did I mention it's free? I like that word, y'all. Free. Go on and download it now. Just a couple of upcoming events. Medicare Open Enrollment 2025. That begins on Tuesday, October the 15th, 2024. Our third Wednesday parent resource chat, pregnancy and infant loss awareness, postpartum depression. It's going to be on Wednesday, October the 16th at 11 o'clock a.m. The open enrollment 2025 for the Affordable Care Act is it begins Friday, November 1st, 2024. Very important dates. Our September health observances were the National Childhood Obesity Awareness and also Sickle Cell Disease Awareness. For October, we want to observe the National Church Safety and Security, National Breast Cancer Awareness, and also Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness. We will remind you again of these announcements of the conclusion of this show. Now it's time to get into the main attraction of the show. Let's turn it over to Miss Mary Fenner and Miss Pat Bowler. Ladies, it's in your hands.
We first want to say good evening to each of you. We thank you, Sharonda. Miss Mary Fenner will not be joining us on tonight, but we are ready. We have a backup, Mrs. Doretha Knox. She is going to join us with questions on Ask Mary and Pat. And of course, I am Pat Boga, the applications administrator and navigator with Oak Hill Regional CDC. And again, Mrs. Knox.
Yes, ma'am. I'm Doretha Knox, and I'm also a navigator and a Medicaid assister with Oak Hill.
Okay, we're going to go on with the questions because we have a night of excitement, some great things going on. Okay, I do have a question. I tried to complete a Medicaid application online and did not get too far because it instructed me to create an account and I got confused in the process, so I stopped. The question is, do I have to create an account to complete the application? Okay, and I'll go ahead and take that one. The answer to that question is no, you do not have to set up an account, but it would be beneficial to you if you did, because in that way you would be able to check the status of your Medicaid application after it's completed, and you'll also have the opportunity to just, just check on the status of your case, when your renewal may come up or what have you. So I would advise to go ahead and set up an account, but if you can't, don't worry about it. Okay. Okay, and we have another question. We're going to send this over to Mrs. Knox, and that is, I just got approved for family planning Medicaid. I was trying to get a regular Medicaid, but my income exceeded the income limit. What does the family planning Medicaid cover?
All right, family planning Medicaid only cover family planning. Only covers family planning. It does not cover regular doctor's office visit. Anything that pertaining to family planning, it covers. But if you have a regular doctor's office visit, it doesn't cover this.
Okay. And we also wanted to mention that you may contact your local health department if you have any more concerns as to what all it covers. Okay, again, contact your local health department. And I think we'll have time for one more before our guests come up. And this is, I just got approved. Well, no, that was, okay, we covered that one. Here's another question. I have two children. One is a United States citizen and the other is a non-citizen of the United States. Can I get Medicaid for both children? The child that is a non-citizen just came to the US about 6 months ago.
All right. Both of your children, one of them can be covered because either that child was born in the United States or has been here over 5 years. The child that's been here only 6 months cannot be covered through the Medicaid program. He would have to have been here at least 5 years or either born in the United States. So you need to check and be sure to bring verification.
Right.
Maybe the birth certificate for that child that's maybe born in the United States or the time that they came to the United States. Bring all the verification to the office that you would need to verify these facts before your child or children can be approved.
Right, and don't you fret because the child that's 6 months old will not be eligible for regular Medicaid, but that child, you can apply for emergency Medicaid in case the child gets sick and has to go to the hospital and accrues a bill. You just contact the Medicaid office and submit an application for Medicaid, for emergency Medicaid for that child. Okay, and we're going to hear from Mrs. Lori Rogers. She's going to introduce our guest for the evening.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I am excited about our guest tonight. I am excited to be here on tonight on behalf of the MOMS program, Maternal Outcomes Made Superb initiative. Dr. Moore and myself are working this initiative, and we are so proud tonight to introduce our guest speaker on tonight. Her name is Regina Rogers Jackson. Ms. Rogers is a board certified family nurse practitioner who is devoted to providing high quality service in women's health. She has an extensive history in the medical field. Ms. Rogers received her Bachelor of Science in Nursing degree at Christian Brothers University in Memphis, Tennessee. From there, she received her Master's of Science degree in nursing at Walden University in Minneapolis, Minnesota in 2017. And she has been dedicated to servicing women since that time. During her spare time, she enjoys reading, shopping, traveling, and spending time with her family and friends. Let us welcome nurse practitioner Regina Rogers Jackson.
He's still the
Good evening. Good evening. Can you all hear me now?
yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. I'm Regina Jackson, family nurse practitioner with a passion for women's health. And like you said, I've been doing women's health for about 7 years now, and I actually love it. And my task today is I put together a short presentation about the importance and the purpose of prenatal care. Okay. So first we'll start off, we'll dive right in and I won't prolong our time tonight. The definition of prenatal care. So when you think about prenatal care, it's the periodic and regular supervision, including examination and advice of a mom during pregnancy. Prenatal care is aimed to promote a normal pregnancy with delivery of a healthy baby. So I did a couple statistics. So, surrounding when do most women get their first prenatal care, when they start their first prenatal care. So in the United States, according to the National Health Institutes, in the United States, 77% of women with live births, they receive their prenatal care in the first trimester, which is around their first 12 weeks. 16.3% of women begin their care in the second trimester. And 6.8% of women begin their care, but they have late or no prenatal care at all. And I even went a little deeper and dug down into Mississippi, and we were actually doing a little bit better than national standards, but we still have room for improvement. It was 77.5% in their first trimester, which is good. It was 17.3% that starts in their second trimester, but we still had that 5.2% that was late or receiving no prenatal care. So that's where we have room to do a little bit reconstruction. We want to work a little bit harder and getting those 5.2% in, because we want everybody to be able to receive their prenatal care in the first trimester. According to the World Health Organization, which is WHO, infants whose mothers did not receive prenatal care are 3 times more likely to have a low birth weight. When I say low birth weight, I mean like around 5.5 pounds than those that did receive prenatal care. So that's one thing we want to try to avoid. We want to make sure that the babies are born healthy and at a appropriate birth weight. Okay. So I just want to talk a little bit about the schedules so the moms can know what to expect. Usually we have 13 scheduled visits, ideally. So in the first 7 months, we'll see you once monthly. In your 8th month, we see you every 2 weeks. And in your 9th month, we'll see you 4 times. The schedule as your visits actually increase in your 9th month. So we'll see you weekly in your 9th month. At each visit, we want to pay close attention to your blood pressure. We want to make sure that it is staying stable. We pay close attention to your weight. We want to make sure if you're at a normal weight that we only want you to gain between 25 and 35 pounds. If you're already overweight, then we don't want you to gain more than 20 pounds. We also pay special attention to your urine. We get a urinalysis pretty much on every visit that tells us about any infections that may be there, tells us if you're having difficulties with your kidneys. It tells us if you have any sugar, which could be an indication of diabetes. So we get a urine at every visit as well. In the first 12 weeks, which is usually the first trimester, like I said, we want to do some early identification. That's usually when we confirm the pregnancy, and we also get the first ultrasound so we can make sure that the dates are consistent with your last menstrual cycle. We also want to assess the health status of the mom. We want to see if they have any pre-existing diabetes, any pre-existing hypertension, so we would know to focus more on that as well. And then most of that is through lab work. We draw a lot of labs, and we also do genetic screening, which most of the genetic screenings is for Down syndrome, but a lot of patients get excited about it because now through the Down syndrome testing, they can also determine the gender of the baby. And that's about 9 to 10 weeks. Yeah. We also do early STD screening because we know that STDs, like I say, infections can cause harm to the baby. can actually cause you to have a stillborn, can actually cause your baby to have some infections, maybe pneumonia, maybe some eye damage, some brain damage. So we want to prevent those as well. Around 20 weeks, that's when we get the anatomy scan on the baby. That's an ultrasound where we actually look at 4 chambers of the heart to make sure all of that is pumping appropriately. We look at the face, make sure it's filled out, the digits, and make sure the baby's just growing appropriately. Around 24 to 28 weeks, we would usually do your glucose testing. So we will have you in, be prepared on that visit to stay for an hour. You come in, drink the glucola, which is a sweet beverage. And then after an hour, we'll draw your blood just to make sure that your blood sugar returns back to normal. In the event that you failed the 1 hour, then we will have you back to do a 3 hour. And if you failed that one, then that's when we would diagnose you with gestational diabetes. For any patients that have been diagnosed or any moms that have been diagnosed with diabetes, we advise a low carb diet, no breads, no pasta, no sugars, no drinks. And most of the time we'll have you come in more frequently so we can monitor your blood sugar along with you monitoring it at home. And if it's staying elevated, then we will send you to a high-risk specialist called the maternal fetal medicine doctor, so they can help us monitor it as well. Okay. And the important thing that we worry about with gestational diabetes is the growth of the baby. Most of the time, if your blood sugar is not staying controlled, it will cause the baby to grow abnormally large, which could cause some issues when you get ready to deliver. So we want to make sure that your blood sugar is staying controlled. During the 28th through the 34th weeks, we'll have you back. And the most important thing then is the Tdap vaccination. So we offer that to the mom. We emphasize on the pertussis in it. We offer that to the mom so she can share the antibodies with the baby to decrease the risk of the baby getting whooping cough. And I'm sure most people have heard of the whooping cough. I advise anybody that's going to be in close contact with the baby, the mom, the dad, grandparents, even probably the babysitters, to get the vaccine as well. Like I said, and it's good for the mom to share the antibodies up until the baby is able to get his own 2 month shots. So that's early on. If the baby's going to be going to daycare prior to 2 months, then you probably want to find somebody that has the Tdap vaccination as well. And then we have the 36 weeks. And like I said, during this time, you'll start coming every week. And we will place emphasis on pregnancy-induced hypertension. Around this time is when a lot of people start to get preeclamptic. So we want to make sure that we're watching your blood sugar, your blood pressure. We want to make sure that we're watching the protein in your urine, because that can indicate to us if you're getting pregnant or not. We also want to look at the fetal positioning. Around this time, we want to make sure that the baby is turning head down. In the event that the baby is still breech, which just simply means that the baby is still head up instead of head down, then there's 2 things we can do, usually about between the 36, 38 week mark. Then the physician can do what we call an external cephalic version, which just simply means that he would try to turn the baby around himself or herself with his hands. And if that has a 50% success rate. But if it's unsuccessful, then 9 times out of 10, the mother will end up having a C-section. I know that there are barriers to receiving adequate prenatal care. I mean, some people, most of the time, it's the insurance. A lot of people are late getting started on their insurance. So if that's the case, then I think they should just follow up with their local WIC office or their local health department for resources. Most of the time, the health department are good about giving out resources on how to get the insurance together, or maybe even transportation to be able to get to those appointments. Okay. And just a side note to the moms, we just want to make sure that you are being sure to take your prenatal vitamins. Those are important every day. Stay hydrated. Make sure you're getting adequate rest, at least 8 hours. Avoid smoking and alcohol, and definitely secondhand smoke as well. And then I have a couple warning signs that I just want to let them know. So if they start to experience any bleeding from the vaginal area, If they're having any nausea, vomiting that does not go away, any bad headaches that will not go away with rest, hydration, or Tylenol, they have any sudden swelling of the hands or feet, any blurred vision or fever greater than 100.4, then they should definitely follow up with their OBGYN. And lastly, like I said, I wasn't going to hold you all night, but I have a quote by Mary Mason. And the quote says, "A baby is something you carry inside you for 9 months, in your arms for 3 years, and in your heart until the day you die." So we want to make sure that we keep promoting these prenatal care so the patient can really make sure that they're receiving these healthy visits. They don't miss out on important visits, and that they're promoting and bringing forth healthy babies. Anybody have any questions?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
You are welcome. Any questions?
We will ask questions at the end of the webinar,
Okay.
and we're now
Okay.
going to turn it back over to Ms. Pat Boga and Ms. Doretha Knox.
All right, we thank you so much. We really enjoyed that presentation, some valuable information. We do have a question in the chat, but as Duke, we call him, he said that we're going to ask questions at the end of the session. At this time, we're going to bring Mr. Clarence Campbell, and he has a presentation. And he is going to be talking about open enrollment.
All right. Hopefully I'm unmuted now.
Yes.
Okay. So as a previous presenter mentioned, and I'm sorry, I'm old and I forgot your name. But November 1st, open enrollment begins for the marketplace. The marketplace is where you go to purchase ACA insurance, insurance, Affordable Care Act insurance, Obamacare, things such as that, various names it's called. And what I've got up here, it's a website from an insurance provider. I'm not necessarily recommending this particular provider. It's just that this provider, Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield, has a site that has some pretty helpful information on it. I'm going to read through some of it for you. Okay, what is the marketplace? The health insurance marketplace, also known as the marketplace, helps you find health coverage that fits your needs and your budget. You can compare plans based on price, benefits, networks to help make the best coverage decision for you and your family. The health insurance marketplace was established by the Affordable Care Act to help individuals and families access affordable health insurance. While the federal government operates the health insurance marketplace in most states, some states run their own marketplaces. All marketplace insurance plans are offered by insurers like Anthem. Okay, who qualifies for a health plan through the health insurance marketplace? Okay, the basic qualifications to qualify for a health plan through the health insurance marketplace is that you live in the United States, you are a United States citizen or national, or you're lawfully present in the United States, and also you're not incarcerated. Okay, those are the basic qualifications for a health plan through the health insurance marketplace. But an extension of these qualifications are, generally speaking, you are going to have a source of income. If not you personally, you must be a dependent of someone that has a source of income, and it's going to be an allowable source of income. I won't get into the details at this particular time, but that's the most important thing to remember, is that either you yourself, if you're looking for insurance for yourself, or if you're looking for coverage for a dependent or a spouse, you have to have a source of income. And one thing that's important to know is that ACA insurance through the health insurance marketplace, is not meant to replace any already government-sponsored insurance plans that are out there. Insurance plans such as Medicaid, Medicare, even TRICARE, or insurance through the Veterans Administration, VA coverage. The primary goal for marketplace insurance is to provide affordable coverage for people who either don't have coverage available through their employer, or the coverage is what's known as unaffordable. There's a formula that's used to determine what's unaffordable, and basically that formula is the monthly payment for insurance through your employer has to be less than 9% of your monthly take-home pay. And particulars and details like that, we would get into if we're actually working with a consumer and submitting an application for them. One of the things that makes affordable care coverage affordable is what's known as the premium tax credit, also known as health insurance subsidies. I'll see if this gives us any additional information. Okay, the advanced premium tax credit helps you lower your monthly premium for coverage. And by this, I mean, if you qualify for the ability to purchase ACA coverage, then with a formula based off of the zip code and county that you live in, the number of dependents that you might have, and your age, you can qualify for what's called the advanced premium tax credit. And these tax credits can often lower monthly premiums, which may be as much as several hundred or maybe $1,000 down to sometimes under $100, under $50, or some cases, your monthly premiums end up being zero with the application of the advanced premium tax credit. That's what makes affordable care coverage affordable. Okay, how to qualify for an ACA subsidy. Your eligibility for health coverage subsidy depends primarily on how much you earn compared to the federal poverty level guidelines, as well as the number of people in your household and the cost of health coverage in your state. Now, if your household income is between 100% and 250% of the federal poverty level, you could be eligible for both the advanced premium tax credits and additional reductions called cost savings reductions. These are reductions in the amount that you pay for your health care. And then another point here is if your household income is more than 250% of the federal poverty level, you could be eligible for the advanced premium tax credit and pay no more than 8.5% of your expected annual income towards premiums. Okay, metal levels. The ACA health insurance marketplace offers approved health plans in 4 metal categories. These metal categories are bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. The categories differ by what percentage you pay for the cost of care. Okay, so if you have a bronze plan, that means that your plan pays 40%. Your plan pays 60%. You pay 40% of services. And you can be eligible for premium tax credits. If you purchase a silver plan, the plan will pay for 70% of health-related expenses, covered expenses. Your cost will be 30%. And then additionally, with advanced premium tax credit, you're also eligible for cost sharing reductions. Again, reducing the amount that you have to pay for your coverage and medical services. Then as you go up into the gold plan, the plan is paying for 80% of expenses. Your cost is going to be 20%. If you find a platinum plan, the plan would pay 90% and you'd be responsible for 10% of medical bills. And these are the medical bills that fall underneath the maximum annual amount that you would have to pay. But also important to know about these metal plans is as the percentage that the plan pays as you move from 60% to 70%, your monthly premiums are going to increase. But the level, again, that the insurance company is paying is increasing. Also, generally speaking, as you move up in the metal levels, the amount of deductible that you're going to be responsible for paying and other co-insurance amounts that you'll be responsible for paying will be reduced. But again, your monthly premium is going to go up. Okay, there are a few health plans that will offer dental and vision coverage. It says here some ACA plans have been designed to include dental and vision coverage, also known as embedded plans. And the subsidies can be used to help lower the cost of your monthly premiums for these. In the state of Mississippi, what I've found is, typically speaking, if you find a plan, if you find an embedded plan, a plan that includes both dental and vision, it's going to cost about $40 to $50 a month than the same plan without the dental and vision coverage. And dental and vision coverage come as a package too. You can't just select one of them. You have to select them both. Okay. Now, how do you find the right ACA health insurance coverage option? You find the best option by using one of our Oak Hill Regional Community Development Corporation navigators. Our navigators were certified by the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services. We're going through the certification process right now, and we're trained in the ability to be able to work with the different consumers and help you select the plan that'll best meet your needs for you, as well as also be able to explain all the different nuances and terms that you're going to find listed in the various plans that you may become eligible for. Okay, so I'm going to end this presentation right now. What I want folks to remember is that open enrollment will begin on November 1st. If you want your coverage to begin on January 1st of 2025, you have to be enrolled. You have to have selected a plan by December 15th, and you have to have made your first month's premium payment. the actual open enrollment, though, does extend until until January 15th. But if you wait until January to enroll, then your coverage won't begin until the 1st of February. Okay, and if there's any questions, you can put them in the chat, the Q&A, and we'll address those later. Thank you.
All right, we thank you, Mr. Campbell. And of course, there is a question in the chat before we go on to others. And we do want to hear from our guest. We want to allow you the opportunity to ask our guests some questions. But there's one question in the chat in particular. I did a renewal application, and I'm assuming that's Medicaid, okay? My kids were approved, but I was denied. I was referred to the Affordable Care Act to purchase a health care plan. When I completed the application, the cost was $400 or more monthly. It also told me I would get help paying for it, but how? When I click to purchase, it doesn't show a discounted price and wants to charge the whole amount. I can't afford that monthly. I can afford that monthly $400. I understand that. What do I need to do? Okay, now first of all, as Mr. Campbell just told you, that Oak Hill Regional CDC, we have certified navigators in our program, and we will assist you at no cost, and we can help you. I'm not sure if you took the test to see whether or not, based on your household size and your household income, but I'm not sure if you took that test to make that determination of $400. And then also it depends on what plan you pick as well. Now, I cannot say whether or not you were eligible for a premium tax credit because I don't know your household size or your household income, but you can just give us a call at Oak Hill. That number is 662-298-3584 and ask for a navigator, and we will be more than happy to assist you. And we have one more question before we go to our guest, and I'm going to direct this to Mrs. Knox. And that question is, let me find it. Okay. What age does Medicaid stop in Mississippi? Or what age does Medicaid end for children?
All right. Medicaid stops at the age of 19 for all kids in the state of Mississippi. So if you are 19, if you're 19 and you're coming up to that birthday, you will get a notice about your termination. Then, if you're not on Medicaid, you might be able to, if your parents are working, be added onto their insurance until you're up to 25 years old. After that, you can also apply for ACA if you have some type of income. You got to have income to be eligible for the ACA.
Thank you. Well, at this time, we're going to turn it over to Duke or Sharonda, and the floor is open for any other questions you may have for our guests, for both of our guests.
Ms. Jackson, could you share again about the injection that the mom receives, the DTaP that she receives, and what, how many weeks, and what's that for again?
So it's called the Tdap vaccination, and it's for the focus on the pertussis in the Tdap vaccination, and she gets it between 28 and 36 weeks. and it's to decrease the risk of the baby developing whooping cough. So the mom is to share the antibodies with the baby until the baby is able to get its own 2-month shots.
Thank
And I have a question in regards to postpartum depression. Throughout the years, the most recent years, I've noticed that a lot of some of the young women that have had babies, just shortly after they have the baby, they go into a form of depression. And, some can be suicidal, and then some, you may be afraid that they're going to hurt the baby. What happens during this time, and what can you do to help them?
Before she answers, can I say we're going to do a segment on that? But I'll
Great.
let her answer, but we are going to do a segment.
Great.
Ms. Jackson.
Unmuted. Okay. So you're exactly right. A lot of people do suffer from postpartum depression after giving birth. So usually when they come in for their 6 weeks checkup, or if they had a C-section, we normally see them at 2 weeks. So we will assess this. They would complete a postpartum depression form. If they seem to be at high risk for postpartum depression, I usually refer them to like a therapist. And it depends on how severe I think it is. Then we start them on some medicines, antidepressant, and we will follow them just to see how they're doing. Pretty much every like 4 weeks.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Are there any other questions?
This question is for Ms. Jackson, and I did understand that y'all was going to do another segment on postpartum, but what can the family do to help young mothers in postpartum?
So support is always important. Like I said, a lot of times we as family members don't understand how far along that goes. That is definitely important. But just being attentive, being supportive, extending a helping hand, taking the baby sometime and just letting the mom get some free time, things like that actually helps, believe it or not. And if they can even watch the patient, and if they seem like the depression is getting worse, then they definitely need to call the mobile crisis, call the police, or call somebody for some support.
Mm-hmm. There were any questions in the chat? Any other questions or comments?
Ms. Boger.
Yes.
I have a question. Someone asked this question to me. I just moved to Mississippi from Illinois, and I need to apply for Medicaid for my children, but I cannot find a birth certificate. What would I need to do?
Okay, well, one of the things is and we've had consumers to say that Medicaid has told them that they need to submit their children's birth certificates, but you really don't have to have the birth certificate unless you are applying as a parent or caretaker of a child. And that is to make sure that you show your relationship to the child. But we do want to say that if Medicaid asks for the birth certificates, go ahead and submit them, because you don't want to prolong your case or even get denied. But if you're from Illinois and you're moving to Mississippi, now don't forget to get all the documents that you need and contact the Illinois Medicaid office to make sure that they send you a closure letter. So you won't have that problem, because Medicaid may, if you mention in your application, Medicaid is more than likely going to ask you if you closed your Medicaid in Illinois. And you have to have proof that you closing in Illinois in order to be approved for Medicaid in Mississippi. Not you have anything to add to that?
To get sometimes it takes a long time to get verification of closure from another state. You send out of state inquiry, and it might take up to 30 to 40 days.
Right.
And your case can get denied because Mississippi doesn't have verification that your case is closed in another state. So if you get closure letters, please bring them to the office, or whoever's taking the application, and give them the closure notice to verify that your case is closed in another state.
And we do hope that you don't have problems reaching that Medicaid office in that state to request that information.
Pat, and most time, the Medicaid office where you are applying has a number that they can give you to contact the Medicaid office, or in whatever state that you come from.
Okay. That's good. That's good. All right. Do we have any more questions?
No, but I would like to thank you all for letting us be on your show. And we're looking forward to coming back again.
And we appreciate you coming on the show. Our speaker, she provided some great information, and we look forward to the mom's presentation coming up soon. We want to thank you, Dr. Jacqueline Moore, Mrs. Lori Rogers. We appreciate you so much for inviting our guests on tonight. And Mr. Campbell, we thank you so much for providing the information. Don't forget, open enrollment is November 1st. Now, if you don't qualify for a special enrollment period, then just get ready on November 1st and have everything that you need to, we'll try to get you enrolled in the Affordable Care Act, Affordable Health Care Insurance at the Marketplace Healthcare or healthcare.gov. Now we're going to turn you over to Ms. Sharonda Lee.
All right, wonderful show. Some great information has been shared with us on this afternoon. Again, if you want to learn more about us, please visit our website at www.oakhillregionalcdc.com and www.healthykidsmississippi.org. You can also contact our office at 662-298-3584, or either give us a text at 662-689-9712. Again, we acknowledge our board chair, Jennifer Garrett, our executive director, Dr. Michael O. Minor, and also our project director, Mrs. Lottie Minor. Please tune in October the 28th for our October edition of our Ask Mary and Pet show. This has been a production of Oak Hill Regional Development Community Development Corporation. Thank you and have a great night.